Let me start with my personal story. This is me at the age of 3 months. I grew up in a small town in south of Germany, and the reason why I show this picture is because if this presentation goes wrong and you don't like it, you won't get mad at me because you will remember that one day I was this cute. Not anymore, but one day I was. It also reminds me of one of the most important people in my life, and that is my mother and my parents in general. They've heavily influenced who I am and what I achieve in life and what I aspire to become in the future. And it also helps me to remind myself, like a famous tech entrepreneur once said, you can only realize your lessons in life if you connect the dots looking backward. And that's what I did when preparing this presentation. This is my school, elementary school. And every morning I used to wake up at 6 a.m. and I ran there. It was about a 15-minute walk to pick up my teacher. I was the first on the parking lot, and I opened the door and I picked up her bag and I accompanied her to the classroom because I adored my teacher in elementary school. And she was, as you might guess, a woman. And she really, I'm not exaggerating, I think instilled in me a deep sense of interest and passion for learning, and I'm deeply grateful to that woman. That is a hostel in Paris, and it was my first job after high school, my gap year. I moved to Paris, and again, my boss was a woman. And she was pretty tough in a good way, and she instilled the love in me for working hard and for being professional. This is my first real job. After graduation, I joined Microsoft. I worked in their corporate citizenship department, coordinating social initiatives in the Middle East and Africa. And again, my manager there was a woman called Heba Ramzi, and I absolutely, to this day, adore her and owe much to what I became in the years following that one-year experience at Microsoft to her, because she really encouraged me to pursue the career that I wanted to pursue. I'm working today with an organization called Ashoka. Ashoka is the world's largest network of social entrepreneurs around the world. We support more than 3,000 of the leading social entrepreneurs in more than 80 countries of the world. And a social entrepreneur is basically, in our opinion, an individual who has the beating heart of an entrepreneur in no economic sense. I mean that in the sense of being creative, passionate, driven, and the heart of a social missionary. So in a way, it's the combination of Steve Jobs and Gandhi, or because it's Women's Day, the combination between Sheryl Sandberg and Mother Teresa. So social entrepreneurs are these incredible individuals that we take on board after a very rough selection process, and we support them financially and non-financially to grow their ideas. Once an Ashoka Fellow, always an Ashoka Fellow. This is a lifelong fellowship of thousands of incredible people that we support in partnership with incredible partners around the world, both from the private and the social sector, as well as individuals. This is an example of Turkey, where Ayşecan Özyin, İpek Cemta, Emre Kurtebele, Serhan Süze, and others are supporting our work. In preparation for this talk, and I'm getting to the topic that I'm actually planning to speak about, in preparation for this talk, we kind of stumbled upon a very interesting statistic that inspired me a lot, while it also shocked me a lot. Out of the 500 largest companies in the world, the Forbes 500, 478 of them are led by men. Only 22 have a woman CEO. We're speaking about the largest companies in the world. If you look at the 1,000 largest companies in the world, it's unfortunately not different. Again, only 22 women. That makes 95% of the largest companies in the world led by men, and only about 4.6% led by women. And looking at some statistics from Turkey, it's no different. Labor force participation, only 30% of women officially participate in the labor force. Legislators, senior officials in Turkey, only 10% of them are women. Parliament members, only 14%. We're speaking about the people who make the policies that influence our everyday life, both for men and women, and only 14% of them are women. That's pretty incredible. Women in ministerial positions, 4%. And that kind of made me think, wow, there is a huge underrepresentation of women in the most influential roles that this world has to offer, that is shaping our daily life. Women are completely underrepresented. And I looked into our own numbers, the Ashoka numbers, for the social entrepreneurs that we work with. And I have to tell you, we don't have any policy or rule or quota to elect a certain number of women or men. We just go out there and in a very transparent, incorruptible process, we elect them to become Ashoka Fellows and social entrepreneurs that we support. But look at this. Out of the 3,000, and many of them are the leading social entrepreneurs in the world, out of 3,000 in 80 countries around the world, we're speaking Japan to the US, countries all over the world, 42% of them are women. Now, while men in the public opinion dominate the economy and politics around the world, women quietly and without much notice by the general public are disrupting education, healthcare, poverty alleviation, environmental activities. They're everywhere, and we don't even realize. And it's not a new phenomenon. This is a university in Fez. According to the UNESCO, it is the world's oldest university, even before the universities in Europe, like the University of Bologna or Oxford or Cambridge. It was founded. And guess who did? It was an Arab Muslim woman called Fatima al-Fihri in the year of 1859 after Christ. So the first degree-giving educational institution in the world was founded by a woman. You could argue, is it really the first university in the world or not? I don't want to get into that discussion. What counts to me is it was a woman who founded that in an Arab Muslim country with all the cliches that we might have in mind for considering that. Florence Nightingale, in my opinion, one of the most brilliant social entrepreneurs in history. During the Crimean War, she came to Istanbul. She practiced in Üsküdar, a neighborhood of Istanbul, in 1854. While the men were beating themselves up on the battlefield in the Crimean, she was revolutionizing healthcare because she invented the profession of nursing. She discovered that the number one reason for death is not wounds or surgeries, it's what happens after. People were not taken care of properly, and the hygienic conditions in the barracks and in hospitals all over the world were not good, and she invented the modern care and the modern profession of nursing. And today, there's more than 20 million nurses around the world, and she invented that paradigm of nursing. She really disrupted the field of health. Maria Montessori, another example from history, she invented early childhood education. Before Maria Montessori, she opened in 1907 in Italy the Casa dei Bambini, the children's house, where for the first time young children were given the chance to develop their creativity and their senses, and it's much of what education of children looks like today goes back to Maria Montessori again. But it goes all the way to today's time. Rue Billimoria, a social entrepreneur from India, I would call her one of the most exciting, successful women social entrepreneurs in the world. She has founded a dozen social initiatives, all of them reaching millions of people around the world, unnoticed pretty much by the general public. I wouldn't be surprised if no one in this room ever heard of her. I didn't either before I started working with her indirectly through Ashoka. Her latest organization trains financial literacy to children, how they can deal with money, and it's hugely important for the economic and social development of a society that people have a good relation with money. And that organization is active in more than 100 countries around the world. She founded it. I have very good news for you today. Not only were 4 of the last 6 Ashoka Fellows that we elected in Turkey women, also out of the 31 social entrepreneurs that we support in Turkey, 16 of them are women, 53%. Now go back in your mind to the statistics about the Forbes 500 list of 4% being women CEOs and compare that with this, I think it's hugely exciting. Very, very exciting. Just one or two examples. Bedriye Hülya, an Ashoka fellow we brought on board in 2012, she founded a women-only gym franchise called BeFit. There's actually one across this building from where we sit here today. She's training women who have never worked before in their life to be entrepreneurs and open a gym center. And within only about 6 or 7 years, 220 of those centers were opened all over Turkey, reaching 220,000 women across the country. Now, just to put that into perspective, we did studies on that before assessing whether we should support Bedriye Hülya and BeFit. Only about 10% of places in Turkey, including snooker salons, gym salons, sports clubs, for various reasons, economic reasons, social reasons, cultural reasons, religious reasons, only about 10% of them are accessible to women for the reasons that I named. This is changing the game for physical activity in Turkey. And not only that, she also adds courses and lessons and curriculums to those clubs. There is a social hangout spot where women get workshops and sessions. And it's incredible, huge, and founded by a woman. Tülin Akın is another example. She's a technology women social entrepreneur. And she founded Tarımsal Pazarlama, which is an online network where farmers get access to a platform where they can sell and buy things, where they get trainings on information technologies. They receive about 10 SMS messages a day for free with relevant information. And it really, again, impacted the lives of many, many people. Within about 5 or 6 years, she reached more than 1 million farmers in Turkey. She visited 15,000 villages to reach out to those people. And she started it at the age of 22. And we showed this project to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who works a lot on agriculture in Africa, and other partner organizations of Ashoka. They couldn't believe it. They were like, this is not possible. How can she grow this so fast and so deeply into all over the country in Turkey? They couldn't believe it. And before Tülin spoke at a TEDx event about 2 or 3 years ago, curated by Ferhan Cook, another great woman, by the way, and then became an Ashoka Fellow and a Kagidere winner of this year's entrepreneurship competition, nobody really knew what was going on. We have incredible women social entrepreneurs in this country and all over the world, and we don't even realize. And there's others, incredible women that are disrupting different fields of social relevance in Turkey, working on children, the environment, technology, farming, agriculture, economic opportunities for women, ecological farming, housing, architecture, design, urban space, innovation. You name it, they probably work on this. And it's just incredible. I want to leave you with a final message. And that message is that we at Ashoka, we have something called the pipeline. You could also call it a pool of candidates. And it's always about 150 people from around, in this case, from around Turkey, that we look at and we assess how they do and what their work is all about. And 42% of the people in this pool of candidates, of social entrepreneurs all around the country, are women. And again, reminding you of the message that I tried to share at the beginning of this talk, if you want to change something about this world and have a positive impact, one of the most powerful things you can do is to support the women who already do. Because they're among us, they're out there, and they do amazing things. Why don't we join forces, find these people, and support them with everything we have, because they are going to change this world. Thank you very much.